Black? The screen's black. Oh. Not working? Oh. Sorry about that. Okay. Well, welcome everyone for today's regular scheduled meeting. It is Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. 6:33 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mayor Alma Beltran,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabrina Rodriguez.
Present.
Councilmember Janie Molina,
Present.
Councilmember Diego Garza,
Present.
Councilmember Kathy Solorio. Present. And Treasurer Ishmael Spindola.
Present.
Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay. Alrighty, so now we can move on to, we have a presentation from our Finance Director for the preliminary budget overview.
So, Mayor and Council, so we're going to give you basically, first of all, is everybody available for a budget workshop next Wednesday, say at 6:30? Can everybody make that? We'd like to have a workshop to go over the budget. You don't think so? Or Thursday? I mean, tonight the idea is we're going to give you a snapshot of where we are and where we think we're going to be next year. And so that way you can get your mind going. Bring all your questions next week to the workshop. We figure that's probably best. You can write them down, bring them to the workshop so we can address those specific areas. So Margaret's going to give you the overview of where we are. Keep an open mind with regards to how we want to address revenue shortfall. So we have an idea it's pretty painless, but it'll fix a project in the future. So
Yeah.
keep an open mind.
Yeah, we've discussed this too before. Maybe what we need to do is when we get to that subject, before then, have other alternatives, not just one solution.
We have a couple.
Because if it's our ARPA funds, those are already designated. The other thing I wanted to let you know is that on the 9th, I do have a Measure C meeting. That is a self-help for the entire Fresno County. I'm the chair for that.
Okay.
So I won't be able to make the 9th.
Can the council do either Tuesday or
Tuesday's
Thursday?
good for me. And Thursday, I can't.
You can't do Thursday. Can everybody do Tuesday?
Tuesday's good for me. Tuesday? Tuesday the 8th?
Tuesday?
Yeah. Tuesday the 8th.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
we could do the Tuesday. The Tuesday, well,
Early or 4:30? Can we do it early?
What can the council make?
I have another meeting between 1 and 2:30. So
about
maybe
4:30?
something before in the morning or after 2:30 p.m.
What would the council like, morning or afternoon?
4:30 because that's easier
4:30.
for.
No,
what?
Sabrina's also. I'm off
Yeah.
at 2:30, so 2:30 is
Oh.
fine.
Okay.
I was saying 4:30 because it is Sabrina, but
You're off. You're good 2:30?
I should be good for 2:30.
I'm off at 2:30.
Okay.
So,
Tuesday at 2:30.
well, Mayor, can you be here at 2:30 then? I guess.
Have any time to get
I probably 3 o'clock would probably be better,
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just do
just to
the.
be on the safe
We'll do a
side.
budget workshop. You can bring all your questions that you're going to generate tonight, and
Okay.
we'll bring it then. So we'll do it Tuesday 8th at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
So that's fine
And
for
so-
everybody. Great. And with that, I will turn it over to.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
But is that just for council or is that for the public?
It's an open meeting. It's open to the public, so they'll be able to come up and speak
Workshops are usually for the
and give their
public
2 cents, so you can see where wherever we're putting our limited funds. If you have if they have recommendations that you want to entertain, obviously yes. That's what we like to do. Workshops. Public's more than invited to come and give the council their 2 cents.
We used to always do those. It's just when we didn't have a finance director, that's kind of like where it stopped.
Yeah.
But we used to have those workshops, and it's always open to the public, so.
Right, and so with the continuing resolution in place, we're good. We'll go ahead and get that done. And so if we can get everything done next week, then we can bring back final approval on at the 17th meeting for the budget and be done.
Okay.
So
Myra, go ahead.
Thank you. So we're just waiting on Bertha to pull up the presentation
Okay.
on the screen.
just to clarify, Aaron, for the community, it's going to be Tuesday on the 8th at 3 o'clock.
That's correct.
That's for the community if you would like to attend our workshop. Thank you.
It'll be agendized and it'll be also published on the, our website,
Yes.
so
Yes.
that way. Thank you very much.
All right, so as our new city manager said, this is just a budget overview. It's informational purposes only. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Next slide, please. And so it's going to give you pretty much a summary of all of our accounts to include general fund, the special fund, the grants, and enterprise funds. Next slide. And so we'll start with our general fund. So last year, we were projected to be at a surplus of 72,224. This year, we're projected to be at a deficit of 698,166. Currently, for this current year, although we were projected to be on a surplus, we're actually projected to finish out as a deficit of 304,000. So that 698 would be on top of the 304,000. Yes, so about a total of a
Can
million.
we let her finish, and then that way, if we have questions, we can ask you the questions. Just take a note of all your questions, and then
Yes.
yeah, ask whatever you have right now. And then also, if you want more information, we can wait for Tuesday when you have that workshop.
Of course.
Thank you.
Next slide, please. So again, the general fund is projected to be at a deficit. Some of the causes, we have attorney fees. The total for this current year that just ended in June 30th, 2025 is $799,405. In addition to that, we have pool maintenance costs. And then the total for that normally yearly is about $45,000. The total for this upcoming year is going to increase to $122,000 for just the maintenance due to an additional $77,000 for some repairs that we have to do. And so the ARPA funds, it can assist in ensuring that the general fund is healthy. The revenues have pretty much stayed flat since 2018, an increase of usual property tax and such. But other than that, anything services-wise has been stayed flat for the past few years. Well, since 2018. Next slide. And so these are all our special funds. For the most part, we don't have much of an issue with these special funds. The only one is the landscape and lighting, which we are projected to look into with Javier to see what we can do on the increase to make sure that's not at a deficit. Other than that, everything else, Measure Q gets spent. As much as we receive, we spend it all. Gas tax, we're slowly using it. Same with Measure C, TDA, road maintenance, COPS. And then the preschool, again, whatever we receive, we spend. Next slide. Here's some more special funds. The opioid settlement, we're projected to use a few this year. TCP settlement, we're projected to use about $1 million, and that's just mainly maintenance to cover our new plant. And then the successor agency, normal spending. The impact fees, we don't plan to use this year. So all the revenues that you see there is just going to continue adding to the current fund balance. Next slide, please. And now we're going into grants. So grants, we don't really touch too much on. Again, some of them are reimbursable. Some of them we already received the money up front, and we're just doing spending. For the most part, everything looks good on this end. Next slide. We have the ARPA funds, so those we received up front. FEMA's reimbursable, all the rest of that top one. We have also the state appropriation for the sports park from Ana Caballero. We're planning on using that whole thing this year. And then everything else, police station, phase 1 is about to roll out, so we're planning on using all those funds this year as well. Next slide. And then just some more of the grants. We have the TCP project that's ending. And then we will be starting the wastewater improvement project. The water storage tank project's continuous, and everything else for the most part is reimbursement based. Next slide. Now we're gonna get into the enterprise fund. So the first one is for water. The water fund is pretty well. Right now, this for 24-25, we're currently at a surplus, and this next year we're planning on being at a surplus of 295 as well. Some of the expenses include the water rate study we'll be conducting, and then also we will be replacing water meter transmitters. Approximately 300 residents will be getting those replacements. Next slide. The wastewater, this is another fund that's not too bad at all. Same thing, both years are planned to be at a surplus for this one. Next slide. The solid waste, this one here, we are currently, we were projected to be at a surplus for 24-25. And we plan to be at a surplus of 15,760 for 25-26. However, the solid waste enterprise fund was in a deficit of 201,200. The fund balance as of June 30th is in a deficit of about 236,000. So this 15,000 is gonna help a little contribution towards what is already in the deficit. Mid-Valley Disposal is increasing their rates yearly. Starting July 1, 2025, we should be increasing to a 3%. That's exactly what they will be increasing their fees to as well. Next slide. And then last one, position changes. We currently adopted 89 positions in 24-25. And the changes is we're adding 3 teacher assistants, taking it to 92 positions for 25-26. And again, this is just presentation only. There's no council action needed at this time. And if you have any questions, comments.
Okay, could someone please turn the light on? Okay, so we have in the academy, it was two other, or was it 2 or 3? 3? Okay, which would bring us back to how many, Serta? Cadets, you have 3 in the academy?
Parlier Academy, preschool. Sorry, I guess should have put that.
I'll take 3.
I just know that you were going to do that too, so that's why I was wondering if it was part of that. I saw academy, so I assumed that
okay.
you had them in the academy because you were going to start recruiting from the academy. What is the number we do have?
For
Officers,
officers,
18.
I think we budgeted for, let me look at that.
We currently have 18.
How many are actually on duty that are not out due
So
to
every
injury?
shift has 3 officers. On weekends, we have 4.
No, I mean, how many total, the ones that are not, that are actually physically working? 'Cause
Oh,
is
that's
it- yeah.
active? So we've got 3 out of the 18 that are off, so there's 15
So you have 15.
currently, yes.
How long have we had 15 officers on active duty?
It's probably been 2 months, and then, So 2 months ago one went off, so we were at 16. Just recently, we had one that's off, and that was maybe a month and a half ago. And then the
So
other
it
one's,
hasn't been too long.
yeah, and then the other one's been off about 6 months. So the most two recent that went off, that's only been within the last couple of months.
Okay.
But
Okay, because I think before we had several that were out, but I think we did retire one recently, so, okay. The other question I have is, I know you had on here for your budget overview for the ARPA funds for deficits, which we do understand, and I'm fully aware that you can use for deficits, but this is a one fund that we receive from the federal government that can be utilized for anything that's for the community. And my thing is that our deficit does not benefit our community. It helps the city, but it doesn't really bring anything for the community to see that benefits from that. The reason I'm concerned is because we did allocate, we did know about these funds. Those fundings have been allocated for the downtown rehabilitation. The other one is for our indoor-outdoor sports park because there is a match. So we can actually have that 35,000 square footage sports complex with the also with the sports outside, and whether it goes in one location or another, but these are funds that were pretty much being reserved for that project because we're currently working on that. We're currently disputing. I'm sure you've been briefed a little bit about it. So I think it's just, it's 600, what was it, 600, our deficit? Oh, it's over here. 698,000. So I think maybe looking at other ways to start saving and focusing on our deficit would be another option. I know other cities have a worse situation that we do. I've seen Sanger. I was not even talk about Fresno. We all are going through it. And I think a lot of us are going to see harder times because a lot of the fundings that we are supposed to receive, and I'm sure Stuart will go over what we work on as a team. And I'm sure you met him, right? The lobbyist that works for us. Because it is going to be rough. There's a lot of cuts federally and state. So I really want to stay focused on what we promised we were going to deliver and deliver what we promised. So I think it would be okay for us to work on other means to find other solutions. Just moving funds that are available that you can move, is a pretty easy fix, and we knew about it from before. So I think it's important for us to just try to figure out a different way to fix this. I know that, like I said, Sanger has a 4.5 active, like one that's there currently for this year. It's not considering even the ones from the past, which I don't want us to be looking at that either, like continue to grow our deficit, but at least try to work on something that will affect, work on a solution that will fix little by little that problem. We've done it before. And also still be able to complete our project that we had already promised and said that we were going to deliver. Downtown is still something that's we've been working on. They're on the second phase now. So I think it's really important to complete that project. You know, the history of Parlier with the downtown, for over 40 years, they've always tried to figure out how we can fix the downtown because we want to attract other people to our communities and to our community. And that was one of the issues. So when these funds came available through the ARPA, that was our only way to get something, because you know that with grants, there is no grant out there that will actually fund anything that's privately owned, or even for our own buildings. It's difficult to find anything out there. So I think if that would be something that if you could please figure another way, another solution for when we meet on Tuesday. But I think the other concern I have is the 799, which is, let's just say $800,000 on attorney expenses. We've never had an expense as such as that. The last time we had that, it was with Lozano Smith, and they resigned because we were going to cut those expenses. I get it. We have multiple attorneys on different cases, but this is why I think we need to find an attorney that can work, that we can have, that can cover a lot of areas and not have to subcontract so many other cases out. You know, that's what's costing us. You know, it's costing us to have multiple attorneys when we can have one that can at least have some of that experience to cover a lot of our cases that we're working on. But that's my questions. Like I said, the other thing was just the indoor-outdoor sports park. That was it. Do you have any questions?
No, I was gonna bring my stuff on Tuesday.
Doing this, and then that workshop is to work on the budget. So that's a workshop, a budget workshop. She's giving us an updated version of the budget. So you have questions, you can ask questions now. The workshop, you can bring up other things that are brought up then too. Okay?
Well,
So here, do you
I
have any
do.
questions?
Myra, so the 3 positions for the academy, those are the teachers for the toddlers, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I
Yes.
went and visit. I wanted to go see how it was coming along. It's coming along really good.
Mm-hmm.
Children really are enjoying being there, and I'm glad we're servicing the toddlers now at the preschool. I agree with the mayor about our downtown. I feel that our downtown, because it's already started, it's a project that's already started, we need to finish it. On the other hand, the sports park, I understand that, but we have complications, we have things we have to go through before we can even get there. If that's, for me, my opinion, if that's the way we have to go to help our deficit in our city, then I want to see everything, because I think that's a good idea, what you're saying about that, because we do need to take care of the deficit. We don't want to, if we have the funds, why are we holding them, and then our deficit's just going to get bigger and bigger. But we can talk about that more on Tuesday. Thank you.
Yeah, we can talk about that on Tuesday. So you're saying that the Academy of Excellence has more, what's the head count? Because I still haven't gotten any response of what's the head count. I've been asking for about 2 years now.
The head count of how many kids are there, I'm not 100% sure. I can get back to you on that.
Yeah, because the last time, the only reason why I figured it was about 20 was because of the meals that they purchased, and that was 21 meals.
Gotcha.
So I want to know what's the head count, because if we're still at 30 or 40, that's not acceptable. We need to increase our numbers.
But we also need to take in consideration that when we have toddlers, because of their age group, their age, the ratio goes down.
It does.
The ratio goes down.
does.
Once they're in the toddler classrooms, once they're toddlers, they're not preschoolers, the ratio goes down, teacher to child ratio. So that's why, more likely, that's why the number's like that.
Well, I get that, but this program is for Head Start, and it's more focused on the kids to get the early learning before they go to kindergarten.
Okay.
So I get it. I understand that we have toddlers now, but the most beneficial, the ones that are going to benefit from this program and should be focused first is our kids that are before they get to the elementary. It prepares them for that. And there has been statistics that show how the kids that don't have Head Start, and when they get there, they're like behind everybody else, the ones that did have the Head Start program. So that's just my thing, so we can talk about it further later on.
But
no,
again on that, it's true what the mayor's saying. Being the preschoolers, you're getting them ready to go to Head Start. But if you have ever worked with children, you need to realize that our children, even our babies, they're like clean slates. I had a lot of teachers that did not like working with the younger ones, with the ones, the twos, even the infants, because they would say, "What do you teach them?" You teach them a lot. You teach them empathy. You teach them socializing with the other kids. You teach them how to read. You teach them how to learn how to speak. Parents are working all day. They don't have that time to be with their children. You don't start teaching our children to get ready to go to school from 3 years old up 4 or 5 to go to preschool or TK. You teach them from when they're born, when they're in the programs, that you are teaching them all the time, even if it's just to teach them how to walk. Well, teach them how to eat. You are teaching them. You are teaching them. Excuse me, I'm not done yet.
The thing is
Yes.
that she already
So-
said what she needed to
Let you,
say.
excuse me, I know I haven't, but
We need to
Thank
move it
you.
along. I'm the chair, but let's just move it. Okay, finish what you need to say so we can move it along.
if you will give me a chance, I would.
You keep rambling.
We gave
Okay,
you a chance.
go ahead.
So please.
Finish
But
off.
again, yes, and I do love the children, and I'm sorry, but that was my career for over 30-some years, and I will stand up for the kids anytime that comes up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sabrina?
Regarding that, school age children ages have went lower. We're taking 4-year-olds, some 3 that are going to be 4, in the school systems in California now. I think this program, and I did was happy about it when it was supposed to, when it got brought to us to start. Again, I didn't get an update regarding my question regarding that program because I got called out at another registration event that we weren't ready for them yet. And I didn't understand why. So I didn't get an update from Academy regarding that. The ratio, the children ratio, yes, it's gone down because my TKs at the district level, it's no more than 20 per teacher, credential teacher. So I do get that part. And if we have enough of those kids, because I think nowadays some parents don't want them to go to school and into the system yet. They'd rather have them at the preschool. So that age got lower. I mean, now they don't have to be potty trained. Before they had to be potty trained. I think this is a good thing for our community. A lot of parents are working and they do need that childcare. But if we can just get a little more backup number wise, because we have asked for numbers, enrollment numbers, and we can never get a straight answer. Right. I think that's what Mayor's question was before. I've asked that question, but we've never received a clear number like, hey, we had this fiscal year, we had X amount of kids, but some of those kids have aged out. So, even the monthly count, like, hey, we had, 35, or 40 in August, and by December we had X amount of kids. But, just kind of quarterly updates of how many kids are enrolled at this center. I think that's where Mayor has asked for those answers, and she never received that information. But again, the toddler program, I asked for an update because I was being questioned, and I never received that information. So, again, I think the budget, money-wise, let's make sure that we need these people. And I honestly, we do, if we have the smaller ones.
Yes.
So I think that was just kind of just to clarify.
Thank you for clarification.
I can bring an update at the special meeting. I'll get with Debbie and make sure we have those numbers for you. Yes.
Yeah, because that has been coming up, and it's been since last year, and we don't get an update. And like I said, the numbers, I get it that there's for the little ones, which is okay. But this program has had 20. When we in the past used to fill up the community center for their graduation, now they're having their little ceremony at the center because it's not as many children, and this is before the toddlers. And it's the same amount of staffing we had with lower children, with less children, and we need to make sure that we are covering what we're supposed to cover, because that is what that funding is for. That funding is for participation of the kids, not just to have, the money there and not utilize it for what it's intended for. That's just my question. So if you can bring that,
Of
maybe
course.
you could bring it at the workshop. Or do you want it at the workshop?
That's fine.
Yeah.
The numbers, I think it was,
That work?
Would you like to have the academy come up and do like an annual presentation? I'm thinking
It
first meeting in
has been
August.
done. It has been done, but we still don't get that clarification. And it's that they've been up here twice, and
We
they
can make sure that when they present, they give you
give us something.
yes, and they
That
can
would be
talk
good.
about it. Yeah, we can do
That
that.
would
We
be
can
that would be
schedule
good.
it for the first meeting in August.
Yes.
Rachel, bring that in. That would be
Yeah.
fabulous.
Thank you, Erin. Okay, so was that your presentation? If there's no other questions, then we can wait for the workshop, and then we'll get an update on the Academy of Excellence at the next meeting. Okay, is there anybody here for public comments? If there's, scared me. Okay.
Good evening, City Council staff and also citizens of Parlier. My name is Fernando Bañuelos.
I didn't quite hear what you said.
I think it's on. I'm sorry. I think it's on now. Thank you. Now, my question is again is on the close to $800,000 on attorney fees. One question is on Tuesday if we can have a breakdown, and also is why can't we have, one attorney that can be sufficient to have all of our cases to be done? Or do we just have an attorney that specifies in city, but no other cases or lawsuits? I mean, that's a lot of money. Now, what people don't understand is that almost $800,000, those are for expenses on top of that $1.2 million, on top of, we have a lawsuit with Mrs. Hall, lawsuit with Torres, we have a lawsuit with the police officers. That's probably going to amount to a lot of money. And now we need to reduce that on the attorney fees. Now, on Tuesday, is it possible to have a breakdown of the past 10 years and how much did it cost the past 10 years and how do we save money? The other question is, whatever happened to Greenbrier? Are they still in business? I think I heard that they're not in business. And the other one is, I think you mentioned, is a 1.5, I think it's a $1.5 million program for the preschool, and I think in top they got like $200,000. I believe it's supposed to be between 80 to about 95 children, and I think you guys brought that out because there was a graduation. There was quite a bit of kids. So my question is, why do we have 20 when we have a budget? I believe it's like $1.5 million. That's quite a bit. I remember I was at a program in Kerman. And when those numbers were not met, that program was closed. The government came in and said, guess what, we're going to take the money away. So those are my questions. Again, if we can, maybe on Tuesday, if they can settle that. Thank you
It'll
very
be
much.
there, and so
Thank
you can ask those questions. Thank you. Is there anybody else? Okay, hearing none, we can move on to the next item. We have consent calendar. Anybody from the council would like to pull an item from the consent?
To pull item number 1.
Item number 1, is there any other item? Hearing none, do we have a motion to, well, let's just work on that since it's only 2 items. What's your question?
Yeah. I got a call from a constituent who went through the agenda, and they were questioning the last pay warrant, which is Vladdy Law Group. I mean, you did discuss that we're paying a lot of attorneys. They wanted to know why we're paying this attorney group for monetary sanction. So they wanted an answer, so. What is it for?
The Vladdy Law Group were court-ordered sanctions or penalties against,
Megan, that was closed session.
it's a public record.
I know, but the discussion was closed session.
Anyway.
I'm just saying.
It's, I mean, this
They're
is on
for-
the public.
You can give
record.
an answer, but not what we discussed in closed session.
I understand that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. They're for court sanctions that were ordered against the city and against the previous city attorney in relation to a pending case. And when the court orders sanctions or penalties, they either have to be paid or you're in, the court will follow up and address the party against whom the sanctions were ordered and they were not paid. And that's why it's part of this. And the reason for it is because it was urgent, because that particular matter is moving forward in trial.
So it's a
So
city
just to clarify that this is for an attorney that we had and they got sanctioned, and we're having to pay.
We got sanctioned. There was two
The
sanctions.
attorney who was
Need to finish.
Then
getting an
just go ahead and explain, because I don't think he understands.
yeah,
There
I
was
mean,
two separate sanctions.
I understand it. I just
Oh,
want to make sure the
there's two different
constituents know, because they're the ones who called me.
It was, no, I'm not saying about the resident. Two sanctions. One was for the city and one was for the attorney.
I could try, but the mayor is already explaining it.
Megan, I just want to clarify for him. I was saying.
You don't
can
have to
please-
clarify for
Wait a
me.
minute. Who's the chair here? Because it seems like I can't even run my meeting. Everybody wants to stop me from talking, and I'm the one that has the floor. I can give you the floor, but I'm explaining to him that there was two separate sanctions. One of them was to the attorney, the other one was to the city. And then I get someone that wants to stop me every single time. You're not the chair. When you run for mayor, and if you make it, then you'll sit here. No, just, that is what I'm saying, and you need to stop already, Kathy. Go ahead, stop, Kathy. Go ahead and stop. You don't run, stop. She does not run my meeting. And I'm tired that she does this every single time. She just, do we need to go for a recess? Because if we need to, we'll go for a recess, because I'm
Well,
not gonna have this
I
anymore with her.
appreciate that, and that was a good answer, Mayor. And Diego,
you.
do you have a sense of what that amount is and why?
Yeah, well, I understand the amounts on there, but they ask the question of why we're paying this law group for monetary sanctions. So I just wanted the people to know.
Correct.
What's the reason? And you're saying that it was because the attorney got sanctioned, that he was taking our case.
Well, actually, as the mayor mentioned, the attorney got sanctioned and the city got sanctioned because the attorney was working for the city at the time. And it's joint and several liability, which means, you know, those darn legal terms, you're on the hook singularly, but if the other party does not pay them, then you have to pay them. And so it doesn't mean that the city can't collect from the attorney or vice versa if there's reason for it, but the mayor explained it very well. So beyond that, I cannot go into the merits of the case, and that's the reason for that amount.
And also
Thank
to
you.
clarify, it's not going to that law firm, it's going to the court. So that law firm is actually representing the city, so they have to collect it so that they can pay it at the court. So it's not going to that law firm. Yeah.
Mayor, it is going to that law
But
firm.
but it's going to be paid at the court, not the, it's supposed to get paid, well, is it, Chapman?
Mayor, it's a check made, it's money made out to that law firm
To
specifically.
Chapman or?
No, to Vladdy Law Firm. Yep.
They don't represent us.
Yep, no, they represent the opposing side. And they made a motion for sanctions. The sanctions were granted. The city and the ex-city attorney have to pay the sanctions directly to the law firm.
Okay, so it's not Romero, it's their firm.
Right.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to make.
So it is confusing, but I hope that clarifies it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Motion.
Diego, do you have a second?
Second.
Sabrina, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5 yes. Okay, now we can move on to the next item, and that is item number 3. We can move on to the next item, item number 3, and that's Bertha.
We have a representative from Townsend here who was going to do.
Oh, so that it's, Stewart. From Townsend, our lobbyist.
Good evening, Council. Spencer Street with Townsend Public Affairs. We're the city's lobbyists in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. We have a couple primary areas of focus. One is on the policy side. We're focusing on laws and new policies in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. that will affect the city. Some of those, as you heard through the budget presentation, increase the city's costs. We're trying to reduce those. In other terms, we're also trying to find ways to help save the city money and make your jobs easier. City Council, when you're meeting with these meetings, there are Brown Act related bills going through that we're lobbying on. There are bills related to the police department, to water, and we're trying to make sure that the city can keep functioning, the city can keep growing, and keep those costs down while you continue to serve the citizens of Parlier. On the other side, we're looking for funding. You have a grant firm that you work with. We do something separate. We work on state and federal earmarks. We're going to your state legislators, Senator Caballero, Assembly Member Joaquin Arambula, and looking for more money for direct allocations to the city. We've worked specifically on the indoor-outdoor sports park as well, working with the city, getting those project plans, getting the amounts, lobbying members in the state legislature for that funding. At the federal level, we're working with Congressman Jim Costa, Senator Adam Schiff, and Senator Steve Padilla on even more funding. In the past 5 years, total, we've brought in about $4.6 million for the city for various projects, the police department modernization, indoor-outdoor sports park, and then also some additional police officers as well. There's funding for hiring police officers, hiring firefighters, and there are also improvements projects that we're working on. One of those that's pending this year is a pedestrian crossing on Manning Avenue. We're working with Javier on that project. That project was submitted by Senator Alex Padilla this year for $1 million. That's pending in the Senate right now. Another project is more funding for the police department. There's another $1 million pending in the House of Representatives that was approved by the House Subcommittee on Agriculture, Rural, Food and Ag, and related subcommittees. Approved in the markup. Then in the next couple weeks, that funding will continue to move. Same with the funding for the pedestrian crossing. What I do, I'm regularly reaching out to the city now through your new city manager, to the mayor, to city staff for projects that the city needs. Any needs the city has. I've been taking notes this whole time. I have some ideas on some more funding we can go out and look for. We're looking for funding that's on the table, applying for it, advocating for it, whatever you need. On water, we're working with the State Water Resources Control Board. We're working with the Bureau of Reclamation on wastewater. You have a water tank project you need. There's some ideas we have there. Parks is another huge thing that is very popular that we work on. I was with the State Department of Parks and Recreation earlier this year. They have a new funding program coming out this year, a $0 match that we can apply for and get funding for new and existing parks. There's a lot of funding. Parlier is very competitive in a rural area. You have a population under 20,000, and it really helps having us in Sacramento and DC to work with your members, to be there, getting messages from the city. This is why I'm here. I'm here to hear from you. I'm here to take your questions, take your ideas, and go up to Sacramento, go out to Washington, DC, and voice your opinion, try and get as much funding as possible. This year, we are seeking a contract renewal. We've been working with the city for the last several years, I believe since 2019, 2020, on lobbying, and we're looking for an extension. We want to keep the momentum going. That $2 million that's pending right now will continue. We'll keep working on it, and next year, we're going to keep bringing in new project ideas, working with your members in Sacramento and DC on getting some more funding to ease your budget constraints as well. I love working with local governments on creative ways to make your lives easier, to reduce costs. There's some bills up in Sacramento right now that would increase contracting costs. You contract with some of your services, those costs might go up too. We're out there also looking for policies, like I said earlier, looking for policies that will impact city functions. We want to give you as much heads up so that you can prepare, plan accordingly if those continue to go through. Worst case scenario, best case scenario, we would stop them, amend them. Last year we worked with the city on a farm worker housing bill that Assembly Member Arambula was working on. It would have made it more difficult for the city to operate the farm worker housing that's near the city. It would have shut it down for part of the year. We worked with Assembly Member Arambula on stopping that from happening. So there are small things here and there that are unique to Parlier that we want to hear about so that we can go out and lobby on behalf of the city.
Yeah, thank you very much for all that. It's really important for us to keep having you work for us, because one of the things that, and thank you for helping, it was the camp, what is it called? The migrant camp. So I thank you for working on that. I did get people that were living there at that time reaching out for help, because what Joaquin Arambula was proposing was to make it a low-income housing and displace all the migrants that were there. And because of thanks with the letter of support, because I did send a letter of support, and you also forwarded and had met with or talked to the staff for Joaquin Arambula. Everybody's efforts, because it was a multi-group effort to at least slow it down, because I think they're still working on some other solution. It's not going to be quite the same. And I thank you for what you did, because you really prevented from those families being displaced, because yes, they do migrate here. They're here 6 months out of the year, but there is nowhere that they would be able to find a location, a living quarters where they're going to be there for 6 months, because the purpose of this migrant camp was designed for farm workers, so that they're here seasonally and they can have a place to live and not have to worry about shelter or being homeless or living in their car. So I thank you that you were able to help with that. It was, they're back again. So they did reach out to me, because they're, excited that now they're able to come back, and they were wondering what was gonna happen, if they were gonna have a place to come back to. So thank you for that. Stuart was also one of the ones that worked with, I don't know if it was you or if it was a person before you, but Townsend is the lobbyist, is a company that actually works with the elected staff, the staff that to get the funding for, like, the Parlier Police Department was 2.5. Melissa Hurtado was able to, bring that to us, and with the help of Townsend and letters of support from the city, everything that we did to try to get those funds. The other one was, and now we're getting the other $1 million from Jim Costa, and they were able to bring those funds for the police department, so we can be able to complete the project, because we were over budget. So that $1 million will help. And the other one was the pedestrian. Even though pedestrian stoplight was pretty quick, Javier worked on it really quick too, and we got it to DC. It was presented out there. I did, speak to the electeds there too, and with the help, it's a team effort. It's not one person, it's a team effort with the Townsend working behind the scenes and working with the staff that are there in Fresno, in DC or in Sacramento, and then with the city manager and myself, collaborating, getting the support we need to get these funds for us, and that's what's been successful. I know that Townsend has other cities that they've been working for, and they do also bring a lot. So I know their worth. I know that they have done a lot for this city. The other one was the complex, the sports complex. That's the one that he helped with Ana Caballero. So I'm hoping that eventually, once we get that done, and knowing that there's a new election, and the new election for 26, we might have Esmeralda Soria. We can set up meetings with Esmeralda Soria, and if it's Annalisa Perea, also having those meetings with them prior, just so that they know the history and they know what the need is here. That would be something that we can do. I think it's important. Other than that, I think you've done a great job. You brought the funding that needed to be brought here. With the help, of course, with Javier, applications make a difference. The grant applications also make a difference. This is how things get done behind the scenes, because a lot of people think you just write a grant and they approve it. No, there's a lot of legwork behind the scenes. There's a lot of collaborating. There's a lot of discussions that are done with the lobbyists and the staff and the electeds. So I think it's important for them to know that that's how we're able to, because before we didn't have a lobbyist that would work for the city of Parlier until we did hire Townsend. And at that time, I think it was in 2016 when they came in. They came in 2016. So I know it's been before your time, because I know you've been working here. How many years? Or
I've been working with the city for just a year.
for the city with Townsend?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I don't know. Is there any questions you guys have for him? So that way we can, let me have, I think Sabrina, and then I can go to the.
I've heard of Townsend. I've heard of you. I've received no updates
Okay.
regarding the services you provide. A lot of what was just said was relayed to us differently, and nowhere was Townsend. I don't even know. That's what I'm saying. You were not brought up. The company was not brought up as the consultant. Let me finish. It was it was an I and a he. We did this, and it was never about you guys going to be in lobby for us. Again, I've heard the company name before. Never met anybody part of that company since I've been here in 2020. So some of this is just okay. You did that. Your company did that. A little updates were given, but nothing with your name on that.
Yes, it was.
So
There was, just to clarify, there was, and I don't know, it was probably before you started working with Townsend. We had a Zoom here, and we had Melissa Hurtado, and we had Chris Townsend on Zoom for the purposes of the 2.5. So whether some weren't listening or didn't pay attention to what was being discussed, that's irrelevant. But there was a Zoom that was done at that time because Chris is not near here. Lives near Sacramento as well. But that Zoom meeting did take place, and we did have Melissa Hurtado and we did have Chris Townsend on there. So just because I say my part, that's my part. Like I said, it's a team effort. It's not Chief was doing his part. You did your part, which you work with the staff. I work with the elected officials. So that is usually how it works.
Don't get me wrong. I've given you credit for
No, I'm not
lobbying.
saying. I'm not saying.
And
no,
I
no,
even
no,
told Diego
no,
that
no,
too,
no.
like,
I'm
hey,
not.
she does
I
great.
just want to make
But
sure
I
that.
didn't-
Yeah,
I didn't know they were involved in
the back of the behind the
all
scenes.
that. So
Yeah.
again, I've given you credit of lobbying for us in Sacramento and in DC, and I've mentioned that to Diego all
and
the
that's-
time. Like, hey, she does.
But
great.
I just wanted to clarify that. I'm taking offense to
Yeah.
that. Okay.
There's just more people
That-
to it. So
Well,
like
it's
that-
Townsend.
Yes.
They do their part with the staff, and that's how they do it. It's like the staff here for our city manager will work with the staff, and then we work with the electeds. That's why you had Jim Costa. He showed up here for the 1 million and met with Serta and I. It's a team effort. You do your part of what they need behind the scenes, because there's a lot of red tape behind the scenes, documents, what's missing, something that even he'll ask me, I need a letter of support. I go to Bertha, hey, I need another letter, can you do that so I can sign it, and we send it off. So that is all that takes place. It's a team effort. They do their part with the staff. I do my part with the electeds, and the city manager will do his part in assisting our lobbyists when they're around. That's pretty much it.
And thank you. I mean, that was just my he does all. You were part
does.
of that. Your
He's
company
part
was
of it.
part of that, and now I can
Yes.
see the big picture.
Thank you, Councilmember. And we, like the mayor was saying, we really see ourselves at Townsend as an extension of city staff. We're there to fill in. I understand there are certain Brown Act regulations where I can't send something to all of you and start a conversation. So most of our work is through staff, both at the city level and the electeds level. Happy to keep providing updates, come back more regularly also.
We could even do Zoom, and I think would be great to do is maybe have Chris be part of it. He was here at the last one that we had, and that was several years ago. But that's when we changed we had that contract then, and we adjusted his contract back then. So he was part of that, and he did present the police department on with working with Melissa Hurtado, because we had Melissa Hurtado on the live stream as well. I mean, on the Zoom. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
But thanks. If there's any other questions, then go right ahead.
Yeah, I do. And again, thank you for the job you do for our city. Like Sabrina, I've been here since 2023, and I've never heard of your agency, or what your agency does for our city. And again, thank you for that. How long have you been? You said you just have a year, but
I've been working with TPA for a year. I worked in the state legislature for about 8 years before that, and between the Senate and Assembly, worked for a current member of Congress when he was in the state legislature. So my background is in government affairs, public advocacy. We worked with our constituent cities regularly, doing these types of meetings all the time.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking is because you have been here a year, I've been here since 23, I've never heard of your agency. The mayor's saying, I guess the agency's been with the city of Parlier for 13 years, did you say? Since how long? For quite a few years.
It can't be 13. I've only been here 11. So
That's right.
he came in after I was already
Okay,
here.
So, well, more years than you can count, okay? So, being that, saying that is, the contracts before now, because I noticed that this contract is for 1 year. How long were our contracts, or maybe Bertha, maybe one of you guys know how long our contracts were before with this agency?
The norm is 3. The last time I think it was,
My question is,
Okay, I was
my
gonna answer the
question
question.
is because if we had the contract with this agency, we renew it every 3 years, why are we only renewing it for 1 year?
he wasn't here, so he can't answer. That's why I'm trying to answer. It was,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
asking
he's
you the
only,
question. I should be
yeah,
asking another
yes,
question.
because he's only been here with Townsend for a year, so you're asking the wrong person.
Okay, so
If it would
why-
have been Townsend, the owner, then that's a different thing. Maybe he would be able to, well, I'm sure he will be able to answer that. But I've been here for 11 years. And they came in 2016. They used to have a 3-year contract. After COVID, it got reduced. Our last city manager reduced their contract because of not being able to work with the state bodies because of COVID. So we adjusted their contract. That's why it's as low as you see it now, because they couldn't go out there and meet with them because of COVID. So the city manager back then adjusted it and said, you know what, since you'll still be working with via email or Zoom, whatever they do up there, what they were doing at the time with the COVID, then we're going to reduce it till, we bring it back and then readjust it. It never got brought back. We kept them at that rate. This is why it's coming back, because normally their rates are not as low as we have them. Chris Townsend actually did the city of Parlier a favor because he does have multiple cities, and we're probably one of the lowest ones that pay what we pay, which is $2,500, or is it 35? No, that's what he's asking for now. But it's 25. I think it's 2,500. That's what you're currently asking for. So, well, that's what Townsend is asking for. But
35.
yes, that's what he's asking to
35.
to increase. So before, that's why it was
Okay,
adjusted.
so can I finish? So then how long, maybe, I don't know, Bertha, maybe you know, how long was the last contract with them? Did it just expired?
I don't know. I don't have it.
See, there's a lot of questions and I'm asking this because,
You don't want to ask me though. That's the problem.
well, because you give us a big explanation, but you still didn't answer the question. What
I
I'm
said it
asking
was every 3
what
years.
I'm asking is, if it was every 3 years, why are we only renewing it for 1 year?
As I
That's my question. The other question is, if it was every year, like the mayor's saying, because of COVID, because of what was going on or whatever, why hadn't we heard about it? Why didn't we renew a contract the other years that we've been here?
It has. You're asking the wrong person again. You're asking him that has only been here a year for working for Townsend. You keep wanting to ask him when I'm telling you he's only worked for Townsend for a year. What I just said earlier, I answered your question, you're just not listening. I said that the last city manager brought it, she renegotiated the contract. Okay?
Okay, for 1 year or 2 years?
You weren't there.
1 year or 2 years?
You weren't there.
Okay, I'm asking you, since you had the answer,
And
was
then
it 1
it
year or 2
never
years?
got brought back, because then that's when she was put on administrative leave and then she was terminated. Okay, so it never
Doesn't
made
make
it
sense.
back to the agenda. They are asking for this amount for their new contract. You're wasting your wheels on the past.
No, you're
yes,
going
you
around in
are,
circles.
because you're
You're going
talking
around in
about something as why didn't it come back? Why didn't it come back? It's here now. It's here now.
Again,
And they're
Alma,
asking for that amount.
leave the past in the past and just move
Yes, you're
forward.
still
because
spinning your wheels on
no,
something
because
that's
these are
redundant.
questions. They're
So
questions.
what is the reason for it?
Well, I am asking him.
Prove your
So you
point
know
as to what?
Bertha, can you find out? Can
To
you
prove
find
your
out,
point to what?
how long the last contract was with the agency?
we table this and bring this back to the
Yeah, let's table it
You,
then.
you guys.
I want a motion to table it. I do.
The problem
'Cause
is.
I don't even know what's going on. I don't
Well, because
remember
you guys
his
don't pay
name
attention.
or
You don't get
anything.
involved. All you do is drive around
He
trying
does
to look for
backdoor deals and we
things.
don't know. So let us
Don't
let us see
make
what we're doing.
accusation on
Okay?
live streams about
Well, anyway,
backdoor
I
deals.
made a motion
because that
already.
is a business.
Okay.
Megan,
Second, Megan.
Megan, I didn't even open it up yet. I'm going to say what I need to say without them interrupting. This needs to stop. You guys need to stop acting like kindergarten. You worked with too long with kids because now you're acting like one.
Well, you know
my
what? There's
God.
a lot of
That's the
children
mayor
that
That
are
is
smarter than adults.
Well,
A lot of children that are
that's
smarter
horrible.
than adults.
That's
her
the
to
thing.
talk like that.
The thing is that you guys are spinning your wheels on why this.
Where did she learn that
Why
word
didn't
at?
it come back? You guys fired the last city manager.
Excuse
you guys
me.
did not
Point of
give
order.
you did not
Point
they,
of
you did
order.
not let her bring
Point
the
of order.
you did I have the floor.
Point of
Megan, you're
order.
not going to shush me.
I don't want to, but I just wondered if, sir, if you're done with your presentation.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and
so-
I'm not done.
And then there's questions.
And they are done. I was the one that was going to close it. No, they already had their motion on the floor. I'm going to close it. They had their motion. I'm going to close it. So they're not going to shush me. They're not going to stop me from saying what I need to say.
That's fine. I
So
just
the-
needed to know where we were. Thank
That's
you.
where we are.
Thank
And
you.
I've been trying to say this. The thing is that they keep spinning their wheels on why and why, when the reason why was that there was no city manager at that time that was put on administrative leave and then terminated. So it never, it's part of this, because the question came up, why? If the question came up, why, I have to answer why. Just because you don't want to hear it, Kathy, just stick to your corner. No, you're not sorry. You did that intentionally.
telling
Don't
you,
be,
I'm
don't be
apologizing to our
passive aggressive.
I am
I'm sorry
apologizing
after
to
you
our
created
speaker.
this, and then you want to be I'm sorry. That's a hypocrite.
Point of order.
So the thing again,
Let's stop
just let
this.
Chris know that we do thank him. I at least do thank him for whatever he's done. And you worked very hard on working for this community. The problem is that these people, and I'm not saying everybody, focus on anything that has to do, yes, you, Janie and Kathy, and sometimes Diego. And the thing, and that's the thing, this is what I have to deal with. 4 years of this, but I know that there's something coming pretty soon, and it's not gonna be for long. But the thing is that, you know, this is what I have to deal with. Instead of conducting business and instead of making it personal and dragging Townsend into their personal agendas, this is what we deal with. This is why the city has been stagnant for almost 3 years. 3 years. Tell me, what have they brought to the table? Nothing.
Mayor, can we get back on the agenda,
other than working on how to sabotage everything that's been going well. Because honestly, how much money have you brought to Townsend brought to the city of Parlier? I don't care if you did.
Do you
I have the floor.
asking you a question?
Yes, I am.
Yes, 4.6 million over the last 5 years.
And they're crying over $3,500. So, and because they were not being informed and they didn't know, because, I'm glad that you recognized that there was that Zoom, because so she did recognize that Townsend was part of that. Because if not, then I would make sure that someone tries to retrieve that Zoom meeting, because it did happen, which he did talk about the 2.5 for the police department. So what we can do is table it. What we can have is maybe Townsend Zoom in, and we'll put him on Zoom and work on that from there, because I'm sorry that I have to deal with, you know, people that don't really look at the city's future.
I do have a little bit of insight into Councilmember Molina's first question. May I answer?
Yes.
So the contract, I don't know the exact term of the last contract, but it lapsed and went to a month-to-month contract.
Yeah.
This is to come back
It
to the
didn't come
city,
back.
to lock in a year, to continue working with you. I recognize that I've only been working with the city for a year. I'm not gonna ask you to lock in 3 years with us. You're free at the end of that, of course, to continue working with us, which we'd love to do. We want to lock that in for a year,
Yes.
keep the momentum going, working on your current earmarks,
Yeah.
look for more. That's
Yeah.
what we're looking
But that's because normally when you don't approve a new contract and it expires, it does go to month. That's just common with all contracts. But again, we're stuck on the same thing. So since there's
we'll
a
be able-
motion to table it for the next meeting. So then what we can do is maybe we can have Townsend zoom in, and if he has any questions or he wants to add anything for us to which with me, I see the benefit. I don't vote on the motion. So I have a motion by, who motioned first? Kathy, and then second by Janie to table this for the next meeting. I'm sorry that you made your trip all the way from Sacramento here, but some people are not very considerate. So
I will
all
make
those in favor?
myself available. Can't commit anyone else right
No,
now. but
I know.
I'll be available. And if you have other questions, please let me know and I can come prepared for any questions.
Thank
So
you. Thank you
all
so
those in favor?
Thank you. Aye.
Okay, any opposed? I oppose, so there's one opposition and the other 4 approved. Thank you, and let him know that it's unfortunate, but again,
Thank you.
we can move on to the next item. And the next item is, okay, this one, Serta, so why is it, I think I spoke to Sabrina a little bit about it, that it was a little late. I noticed that we tend to get items that don't get on there on time, and we're always having to either do a special meeting or rush it through. What happened
So,
before we get started?
Nothing actually. I apologize, but I had intended to get this on the previous council meeting, and that was my fault. I do apologize to the council and the public as well as the Parlier Unified School District for that oversight. So we're bringing it back to this council, and it's something that the school wants to activate it's as soon as practical. However, there is another step in the process, and that involves the participation of our dispatch center, which is Selma, the city of Selma, who provides our subcontract for our dispatching services. But you want me to go into the details on how this works? So mayor, council members, residents of Parlier, I am before you as providing a recommendation to enter in a contractual agreement with the Parlier Unified School District and ActiveNet Systems. And it's a safety and security system that the Parlier Unified School District is investing in. It's to provide a higher degree of safety and security for the campuses through sophisticated communication and alert system. So their system, not only on campus, do they develop enhanced communication with staff regarding violence, school violence, active shooter type violence. But the part of the demonstration and presentation I went to, there are a number of strategies that they're implementing at the school, which increases the safety and respect to when you have a large scale violent incident. The communication is chaotic. It's panic stricken. So this company came in and did a very well, presented a very well organized strategic plan to create efficiency, and it reduces the risk of safety to the students, staff, and community as well. Part of this, and intricately, the police department is intertwined, because when that communication and those alert systems go out, we want it to go to our police officers who are on patrol and their MDTs, their mobile digital terminals that they drive around in. So if there's an alert on campus, there's violence on campus, that alert immediately goes to their tablets. In order for that to happen, our dispatch center, that software has to be installed. And so that's part of our participation in this aspect of it. The other part of that is going to be the Selma Dispatch Center, the city of Selma, agreeing to these conditions because that is their center. And we have had communications with the city of Selma, the chief of police over there, and their staff as well. And they are on board as well. So this is simply the next step in the process as far as getting this approved. And it's it's a big investment, but it's the next level of technology for increasing safety on school campuses. And the presentation I went to, it was fantastic. I was very impressed. But anything that the school wants to introduce in respect to increasing and enhancing safety at school campuses, absolutely, I'm highly interested. And it appears to be a very well And it seems to be evidence-based out of Tulare County. So it's a proven strategy to reduce the threat of violence and increase safety for the students and staff on campus. So I'm recommending to the council to approve entering into this contractual agreement, sub-licensee agreement with the Parlier Unified, with ActiveNet through the Parlier Unified School District, who is completely covering all the costs for this particular venture.
Okay. Is there any,
The school district is covering all. There's no cost to the city.
is there any questions?
It's new. We had a training on it. It's pretty neat because we have this stuff on our cell phone now, where any any activity at our respective sites, we get an alert, and we just need to make sure the Parlier, the PD, is involved with the security safety part of it, and then of course dispatch. It's amazing. It gives you like detailed information, and where, you know, if there's a suspect, you know, on campus or things going on, it red flags, all that stuff. This is a great safety feature for our district and for our community, for our kids.
So it's going to the dispatch first, though, right?
So those alerts, it goes to dispatch, and I believe also it goes directly to the officers' tablets as well at the same time.
No, I just want to make sure that it does still go through the proper
yes.
protocols,
Oh,
because
yeah.
then you're going around the actual
Right.
dispatch.
I think they have to do something on their end with that system, and then it starts sending us who are at the
So
site.
it's research has showed it's reduced response times by minutes, and minutes are lives. So it.
My other question is it something that Selma is capable of doing? Dispatch.
Right, so I'm not on that end of the negotiations, but I'm of the understanding that the meetings they've had with the Selma Police Department, that the capacity and capability is there.
Okay, because if not, then it wouldn't work.
I agree.
Okay, so any other questions? Any from the public? Hearing none, so do we have a motion to, go ahead.
Thank you, Chief.
Good evening again. My name is Fernando. There you go. My name is Fernando Banuelos. On the Thompson issue, again,
We're not on that subject anymore, it's too late for that. So we're on the actual presentation that, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Diego, do we have a second? Kathy, all those in favor? Motion carries 5 yes. Okay, so Aaron, we are doing the staff comments and council comments. So I usually start with you, city manager.
I'm grateful to be here. It's been I've been here the whole week. This is week 1. Staff's been great, very very supportive. So I'm just happy to be here and getting my feet wet and getting to know everybody. And so everything's been great so far. So hopefully I'll have more at the next meeting.
I just want to thank Chief Serta again for everything he did to keep our city moving forward as our acting city manager. I know he's probably happy that he's back at the PD, but we're grateful for everything that you have done. And again, want to welcome our new city manager, Aaron Palmer. I think it'll be great working with you. I've talked to you a couple of times, and I see that you do care a lot about what your job in the city, that our city gonna keep moving forward. I would like to congratulate Tim and Michelle Fernandez Wilson, which are here. If you guys want to get up. This is Mr. and Mrs. Fernandez Wilson is a husband and wife behind Spice 'Em Up Barbecue. After placing 3rd overall and 2nd in the wild card category at the famous Dave's Barbecue competition, they earned a gold ticket to the 2025 World Food Championship. And they are Michelle is one of our public works employees, and her husband went through our EDC Center Point. They have a training. It's called Valley Training, and it's a free program that I mentioned before through our EDC, through our Center Point board meetings. I brought it over here. He was able to just graduate, about a week or two ago. Their nephew also graduated from that program. One of my sons did too. It's all free, and we just want to congratulate you guys. And I'm happy that the programs, these agencies that do come to our EDC, which is our economics development board, that it helps our benefits, our businesses here at the city of Parlier, that they're helping you with your new venture. So if you want to say a little bit about your, okay. You want to take pictures? Let's take pictures. Because they are going to be representing the city of Parlier. Because no, you two, you're city manager now.
Yeah, you gotta get in.
Come on, gotta get in. Bertha. Thank you. Thank you.
We went up there. We'll have to let you guys know.
I just wanted to say thank you, Chief. Your hat has been put aside off of the city manager position. And again, thank you for stepping up and being in that role. Welcome, Aaron, to our crazy life here. and we welcome you. Our community welcomes you. And just, if you need anything, just reach out, support, which we'll be supporting you with whatever is coming our way. I just wanted to say happy 4th of July tomorrow. Stay safe and cool out there. Thank you.
Just like Janie and Sabrina said, thank you, Chief, for everything you've done. I know it's been a rough road, but we're getting through it, and you handled it very well, and I appreciate you. I just want to make sure I let you know that you are awesome. Also want to welcome Aaron to the team. Like Sabrina said, we are a little crazy, but we're here for our city, and we care a lot about our city, and we're going to keep moving forward for our city. So thank you and welcome. Number 3, I want to thank Public Works. They're out there painting all the school, around the school area, making sure everybody knows where the crosswalks are. Also want to thank Irene. She's been cleaning up the city with her crew. She went to District 4 and did a fantastic job, so I just want to thank you, Irene. Also to the other Public Works guys, thank you guys for everything you guys do. Also want to thank Rachel in her indoor soccer program. I believe she had 80 kids register, if I'm not mistaken, between 80 and 90 kids registered for soccer for our, what is that? What is the department? I'm sorry, our recreational department. So thank you, Rachel. And then también I want to thank all staff. I appreciate everyone, what you guys do for our city and moving it forward and keeping it going. And then like Sabrina said, happy 4th of July. Enjoy yourselves, but also be safe. And remember that the kids are around to make sure you watch them. Thank you.
Well, Chief, thank you very much. You guided us through quite a bit. You really did. You were a great help. Thank you very much. Aaron, thank you. And welcome aboard, I should say. And we're looking forward to really working with you and stuff. And I want to say everybody have a happy 4th of July. and be safe. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Erin. I appreciate that you took the time to apply for Parlier. We needed somebody with your experience. For many years, the city of Parlier has always been a stepping stone with people that don't have the experience, and then we don't get the quality of leadership of a manager to run a city. So I'm glad that we finally found somebody that can fill in for this position, because it's not an easy job. We know that you have to entertain 5 people, that you have to make sure that they're all happy, and it's not easy. Just imagine with the executive director that is in the Fresno Council of Governments, he has to worry about 15 mayors. So it's a lot harder, but I'm sure you'll do a fantastic job. I think that it is long overdue for us to have somebody with that experience and other ideas. I know that the city you came from is a little smaller than what we are, but you understand a small city, how the things run and what the needs are for small communities that don't have all the resources, that don't have the revenues that we need to sustain a city like this. So I think that that's going to be helpful with your ideas that you bring to the table. The other thing I wanted to say is, I look forward to the budget. I know, Myra, this is your first time presenting this. You barely got hired this year too, so you're in that, trying to get everything straightened out. It's not an easy task. It takes a lot of staff and support and making sure everything is done the way it should be done. I just want you guys to know that when I mention things is because I want to make sure that we stay on the right track. I've seen it to where it goes down south like really quick once we tend to lose what's important. Not that I'm saying staff is doing that, but sometimes it does happen when it's so much going on. I appreciate that you took the time to work on this. It's a good start, and hopefully with our workshop, it would be something that we can start working as a community and as a council, because we used to have those before. And they're very helpful because at least we have a better understanding of what every department looks like on their funding sources and how where they're lacking on and what we can improve on. So I'm glad that we're finally getting that done. It's finally going to happen. Thank you, Erin, for that, for pushing it through. The other thing, I want to thank Javier, for the work that he does, because Javier and Stewart, Spencer Street, has always been working hand in hand on the documents that are needed, the applications that are needed, the background, anything that is going to help for our fundings for the future. I was just having a conversation with Spencer about the Prop 4. And Javier also mentioned that we had a discussion about that will help Earl Ruth, where we can actually work on fixing and beautifying Earl Ruth, bring it back to life, bring more to it than, we have a lot of beautiful trees, but there's a lot more we can do. That's one thing that Spencer was talking about earlier, as working on funding for that, and also the Veterans Park. I know that's something that people always mention about it not being that we work on all the new parks, but there's nothing that's really looked at on the existing parks. So hopefully that at the next meeting that they continue to approve the contract for Townsend, so this way that you can continue to bring those funds that are needed here, because it's a team effort. The staff collaborate with you, Javier collaborates, and then my support on letters, what I can do to the elected officials to get that support from them to push it through the departments, like the Parks and Recreation, like the grants for the build-up grant. We do letters of support that staff will put together. Well, Spencer's puts it together. Staff will print it, put our city logo, and then I sign it. And this is the collaboration that we need to continue to move things forward and to get the funding that is necessary, because Parlier doesn't have the money for things like that. Everybody keeps asking about, the parks, that are existing, there's not many, they're looking horrible, or what are you guys going to do about it? Well, there wasn't much funding available. people, and I keep reiterating this, that people need to stop thinking that there's a grant for everything. If it's available, the state will put it out, then we apply for it, and then we work through the channels to get the funding for it. So that's why I keep fighting on this, is not because there's no backdoor deals, Kathy, because that's the things that you need to stop saying, because you're insulting Townsend by saying something like that. And you need to be careful when you say things like that publicly, especially on a live stream, because it's not the case.
Megan, that's not on the agenda.
So that is why I want everybody to know that this is a team effort. This is something that is important for the city of Parlier and the community, not for individuals or myself, anyone up here. It's for our community. That's what's important. And that's what you've been successfully bringing funding for our new PD that's going to be happening. When do they start construction, Chief? 7 to 10 days. And please let them know that we would want Townsend to be there. I will contact Melissa Hurtado as well to make sure. We need to get her to come out here so that she can do ribbon cutting. I know we did a groundbreaking, but at least we can take a picture when they're actually working and doing something with the building and have them come out, because I just think it's important to show the support, that we support Townsend and the things that they do for us, and that, you know, I would like to continue to have them on board, because I know the benefits of it. So thank you for that, and thank you for also coming out here. I know it was a drive, so thank you. The other thing I wanted to mention is the TCP project, the filtration system. Is it already, I know that you were doing a test run, and I think it's important for us to let everybody know, because I think sort of you did get a lot of calls about the water pressure. Oh my God, what's going on? I got that too. And I'm glad that Javier was able to explain that, because they're flushing everything out, the pressure was going to be lower than usual, because they're flushing or cleaning our water. So now we're going to have a really good system that's going to provide clean water to our communities. So I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add to that.
Yeah, sure, Mayor. I can give a quick update. So, yeah, we're finalizing the TCP project right now. Well 9, which is our biggest well, is filtered water right now. And so really, there's a lot of programming where, hey, if this side of town has low pressure, the other side turns on. All of that, we're going to a remote SCADA system. So our Public Works Department is going to have access to everything in real time. Hey, turn on that valve, turn off that valve. They're going to have a laptop on their office. I mean, it's a completely new digital system. And then at the same time, we're getting inspections for the rest of the wells that we're bringing back to life, which is an additional 3. And all of those have to be inspected by the state and passed before they allow us to turn them on, pass inspection by the state. So we had inspection last week for well 2A, and we're going to just continue to have these inspections. And as we do, we turn on the new well and we get it programmed and we get it working. So there's going to be a little bit of hiccups. And like I said, when we were flushing the tanks, we had some fluctuations in pressure. But in order to, you have to kind of clean it out. So, but yeah, everything's coming back online right now. Just finalizing the inspections and getting everything clean. By the end of this month, we're going to have completely clean filtered water. Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to add for maybe the next meeting, Chief, did you ever look into that report, AI report writing, so that we can at least have a presentation for that? I think it's important that we start working on at least what we can, and it's a pilot program, because I did have the conversation, like I told you, it was on a Zoom meeting with the person that's going to present if we put him on the agenda, so we can get these reports moving along. I know that there's been several reports for accidents that happen, and they wait a long time to get these reports, and the insurance companies are waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's like they keep having those issues. And so I think that's where we can start with that, and then till you clarify with SMIC Camp on what is allowable and what is not. So at least we can start with that, because people still complain about reports not being completed. So this will help our police department not be stuck at the office trying to finish up reports. It helps them expedite those reports faster, so we can have them patrolling out in the community a lot more than actually stuck in an office trying to finish reports. So I think presentation, I'm not sure, Aaron, if I included you on that email.
Yeah, the chief's already sent it to me, so the chief and I will talk to them. We'll get it all set up, and if this is something that he's excited about, we'll bring it to the council.
Okay, yeah, because I think we want to make sure that we start addressing some of the community concerns, because I know I've been getting a lot of those, and so we just want to make sure that any tools that we can have for the officers to make their job a little easier is important. The other thing I wanted also to mention, and I don't think I did mention this to you, Aaron, but I did bring it up to Chief. This is the solar grant, the AB 379 solar permitting application process that was out of compliance with the city was not in compliance. We did get a letter from the Attorney General addressing that concern as far as that we are out of compliance. I think someone had filed a complaint. So I know that the other person, when I that probably filed a complaint, I notified them that I had addressed it and mentioned it to CERTA, and that he mentioned that there is a grant that helps with that software that we did receive, and I don't know what we did with it, but there was a grant for $40,000 to help us with the permitting. So maybe that we can address it before I get another email.
Okay, yeah, the chief gave me the DOJ letter, and I've spoke with our planning consultant about that, and so we'll be getting up to speed and seeing if that's something we can add to our planning software.
Yeah, no, that's good, because I did answer saying that we were working. I think you were part of that email too, Chief, where I said that we were working and trying to expedite that, so that way they see that we're trying to fix those issues. That's it for me. Megan?
Yes, if there's nothing further, then there's a closed session. Council, existing litigation, Reyes versus City of Parlier pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, and item number 6, public employee employment, title City Attorney pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. Those are the only two items. And if there's any public comment on those two items before we go into closed session? Mayor?
We'll go into closed session and we'll come back. Thank you. Nothing to report. Meeting adjourned. 8:46.